Hello everybody, and thanks for checking out this latest video forecast from Convector Weather Storm Chasing and Forecasting. This is lead forecaster Nathan Kitchens here on this Friday afternoon. It's about 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and I hope you're all having a great day, and I apologize for the lack of updates over the past few weeks. I've been finishing up my college semester, and I'm finally finished, so that means I'm going to have more time to do these videos about every other day. I'm going to try over the next few weeks. So let's take a look at the current satellite animation across the continental United States and Canada. You can see we have a storm system here. See that spin here? Getting ready to come on shore here in the Pacific Northwest. We have a trough digging down here, carving out a deep trough here across the west. And this is setting the stage now for that storm system to develop through here and lift to the northeast over the next several days. And that will be responsible for that risk of severe storms tomorrow afternoon across portions of the southern plains here. And that system will be pushing a little farther east as we head into Sunday. Along the Gulf Coast states on Sunday, we'll have that risk for some severe storms. So let's take a look at what some of the models are showing. As we head into tomorrow, we have a nice low-level jet coming in here, as you can see on the NAM. But let's take a look at the that's tomorrow afternoon, showing you the 850 wind streamlines. Let's take a look at what the models are showing. The 12-kilometer NAM is showing for tomorrow afternoon. Actually, I'll start with today. You can see some of this low-level moisture here across parts of the throughout this area, but nothing significant. We have that system coming on shore that I just showed you on the satellite here, and that trough digging down here across the west and setting the stage for the storm system to gather shape and develop. As we head into tomorrow, here we are by 6 Central Time. See some low-level moisture streaming in here. This is actually the composite reflectivity, so it's a little bit different than what you may be used to seeing. Composite reflectivity will give you a good indication of where the deepest convection, the strongest storms are taking place. But anyway, tomorrow morning, we're not going to be worried about severe weather at 7 a.m., don't worry, or 6 a.m., whenever this is, 6 a.m. Central Time. But as we go forward here, this is by mid-morning. See some storms starting to show up here in southern Texas. And by the time we get to the noon hour Central Time, we're going to have any time from noon and after that will be fair game across Oklahoma and Texas for those storms to start developing and at risk for severe storms as well. So here we are by noon Saturday. Storms will be starting to initiate here, I believe. You see some of the yellows starting to show up here. But watch as we go forward here to 3 o'clock, so mid-afternoon. Storms will be firing up here across eastern Texas. Could be severe storms at that time. And Oklahoma as well. We'll be watching for those storms as well around that time. And here we are by 6 Central Time. Storms continuing to show up here and getting stronger across eastern Texas and eastern and central Oklahoma. And going forward to 9 p.m. Central Time, still dealing with storms, and we can't rule out some severe storms as well. Certainly damaging winds will be the big threat, and large hail and isolated tornadoes. So we have this deep trough digging in, so we have the upper level support. At the surface, we have strong southerly winds, that plenty of low-level moisture coming in, and we also have that turning of winds with height. We have somewhat of directional shear taking place here. So we always want to look at the low levels and how the winds turn with height in the 0 to 3 kilometer layer of the atmosphere. And when you see some of that turning with height, a sufficient low-level jet kicking in. So all the ingredients are here for some severe storms. You know, this isn't one of those major outbreaks where it's just going to, we're not expecting anything, quite, way too out of the ordinary. But certainly, the risk is there for severe storms, and you want to be on alert. All 3 modes of severe weather, like I said, will be on the table for tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening across this area here. And to give you a better idea, let's see what the Storm Prediction Center has outlined for tomorrow. Here's their slight risk area here from south central Kansas here throughout central Oklahoma and northern and central and eastern portions of the Lone Star State on Saturday. Heading into Saturday, and also the green here represents a marginal risk. And as we head into Sunday, we're going to see the risk of severe storms shifting a little bit farther to the east. So here we are by 9 p.m. Central Time. Heavy rain, storms will be ongoing. Look at all this rain really developing through here across this area. Flooding is going to be a risk, especially this area right through here. We're going to see heavy rain setting up for several hours where it just rains very hard. I know that many of the streams throughout parts of Oklahoma, parts of Arkansas, parts of Louisiana, parts of Missouri a lot of the streams are already, fairly full for this time of year. These areas have had a pretty sufficient amount of rain this fall. And you add this system coming through with heavy rain throughout the night, Saturday night, and even into Sunday, through the day on Sunday. We need to watch out for some flooding. 3 to 5 inches of rain will be possible across parts of these areas, and I'm going to show you what some of the rainfall totals could be here in a minute. But Saturday night and into Sunday morning, heavy rain will be a big threat here, and some thunderstorms as well will certainly be ongoing. Still cannot completely rule out some severe storms Saturday night through this area through here. And heading into the day on Sunday, by the time we get to 6 a.m. Central, heavy rain, another still a huge threat here. Cannot rule out some isolated strong storms. And heading into Sunday midday, by the time we get to around noon Central Time, we're going to be watching this area right through here from, let's say, southwest Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas, Louisiana, this area right through here. Look at these storms showing up here. Damaging winds are going to be a really big threat with these storms. And also can't rule out the other modes of severe weather as well. Can't rule out some isolated spin-ups along this line as well. This is by noon Sunday, so some pretty good storms going on through here. So it's just going to be rough. If you're going to be heading to church Sunday or whatever activities you might have planned from Missouri, well, especially from Arkansas down through Louisiana around this time and into Mississippi, that's where we really are going to be watching for some severe storms to be a possibility. So some rough weather down there on Sunday. By the time we get to the mid-afternoon hours, the storms continue to strengthen. We have the daytime heating and instability, combine that with the strong upper-level winds, and plenty of moisture at the surface for these storms. Plenty of moisture coming in from the Gulf of Mexico, feeding these storms and continuing to make them stronger throughout the afternoon. See some of those reds really showing up here. Damaging winds will certainly be a big threat along this line. It looks like New Orleans, right around the mid-afternoon hours on Sunday, is when you're going to be seeing these storms coming on through. You want to be on alert for isolated tornadoes along this line, and certainly damaging winds. This isn't an overly, major threat for severe storms, like I said, but it can't be totally ruled out. Can't be totally ruled out. And here we go by Sunday evening. This is by 6 p.m. Here's the line pushing a little bit farther to the east. Cannot rule out some damaging winds along that line. And into Sunday night, this is by 9 p.m. Central Time. I think these areas are still in Central Time here. But anyway, this would be 10 Eastern and 9 Central Time. Still have some storms here that we need to look out for some damaging winds. And it looks like I've had some questions about the panhandle of Florida. It looks like for you guys, Sunday night, especially after midnight, for Pensacola, I would say probably around 11 p.m. or so is when you're going to be seeing those storms beginning to come on through with the damaging wind gusts possibly. And by the time we get to midnight Central Time, here are those storms here, stretching from parts of the Ohio Valley, but especially really the storms we're going to be worried about from parts of southern Tennessee here, Alabama, and down through the panhandle of Florida by midnight. And as we head towards the early morning hours on Monday, that's when the convection really starts to lose its punch. Severe risk will be gone by that point, it looks like, overall, that we're left with some gusty winds and some heavy showers moving through the area. So let's take a look at the severe risk for Sunday from the Storm Prediction Center. They do have right now just a marginal risk across parts of eastern Texas early in the day on Sunday, but parts of southern Arkansas, parts of the whole state of Louisiana here, and parts of Mississippi as well. And then I could see that stretching into parts of Alabama as well, especially by the time we get into Sunday night. And I think as we get closer, the Storm Prediction Center will probably update this area. I would think a slight risk will be probably what they're going to issue in here, but we'll see. So right now we actually only have a marginal risk. So that means we're only dealing with some more of an isolated severe weather situation. And the threat isn't overly strong, but I do think as we get closer, this area it probably will be upgraded to a slight risk as confidence continues to grow for some severe storms on Sunday. So again, I don't want to scare anybody. This is not something to be really worried about. This is just kind of your typical this time of year. This area is prone to severe storms, so it's nothing out of the ordinary here, and not an overpowering severe weather threat. But the threat nevertheless is there. And we just want to keep you guys updated, just let you know the potential that's there on Sunday. So again, nothing too crazy, but just wanted to keep you in a loop of what's going on here. So that covers Sunday. And as we get to by the time we get into Monday morning, again, I mentioned the storm system. It's it's just kind of taking its sweet time here across the U.S. The bad thing about that is because we do have that flooding risk, all that rain just continuing to set up here across parts of the southern plains here and even the Mississippi Valley. That's why we're going to be watching for that flooding risk. But by the time the storm system begins to shift farther east, so parts of the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes, threat for flooding and severe storms for this area will not be expected. In fact, by the time this line really gets to parts of Indiana and Kentucky, probably not even thunder. So really just dealing with some heavy showers moving through along the front. And then once the system lifts by, throughout the day Monday, the low pressure is shifting farther to the north and east. So now by Monday afternoon, the center of low pressure is up here in the upper peninsula of Michigan. We have some cooler air behind the system, but again, the air behind the system is of Pacific origin and not from the Arctic, so we're not dealing with a major temperature crash, but nevertheless, it will turn cooler behind the front as it pushes through Monday afternoon, and the northeast will be in the line for some showers and maybe a few storms Monday evening and even into parts of Tuesday as well. So let's see how much rain could fall throughout the next several days. And again, I already mentioned that flooding will be something we'll have to watch across parts of the Arkansas region down through parts of eastern Texas and Missouri. Here's a look at the potential rainfall between now and Tuesday. I think this is a pretty good look at how much rain could fall. The area from the upper peninsula here in Michigan down through Wisconsin, Iowa, Missouri, eastern Kansas, down through central and western parts of Arkansas, eastern and central Oklahoma, and eastern and central Texas, and parts of Louisiana. That's the main area we're watching for the potential for some flash flooding with these storms over the next few days, especially Saturday night and into Sunday. That's the main time frame for this area through here to get that heaviest rain. And again, you can see how much rain could fall. You see the lighter shading of purple indicates a 2-inch range. So we're seeing anywhere from 2 to 3, and you see some embedded pockets here where there could be as much as 3 to 4, maybe even 5-inch totals of rain by the time all is said and done once the system pushes through. So that covers the system for the weekend. And look at all the rain also here across the parts of Oregon and Washington where that system's coming on shore. Some good news for parts of California, seeing some of that rain. So also some very heavy totals here across Oregon where we've already seen a lot of active weather here over the past couple of weeks. So let's go now. I want to show you kind of how the pattern will be setting up heading into next week. I'm running a little short on time here, so I'm going to try to go as quick as I can. Get to the right model here. Okay, so here we are by Monday evening. There's that storm system starting to lift into southern Ontario by that point, and still breaking some rainfall to the northeast, but nothing significant, just some rain, and fairly light rain by that time, so we're not dealing with any flooding issues across the east. Any flooding issues with the system will be across the central U.S., like I've already talked about. And heading into Tuesday, the storm system is finally out of the picture. We watch another storm system developing here, pretty good low pressure here across the central plains. By the time we get into Tuesday, see some snowfall here across parts of Nebraska and North Dakota and parts of Minnesota, so that's something we'll be watching. So we could see some snowfall here, and heading into Tuesday night and Wednesday, that storm system begins to lift into the upper Great Lakes, the upper peninsula of Michigan. We'll be dragging a cold front through here, so it's going to be another strong southerly flow for the eastern U.S., so another nice warm up here. We really don't cool down very much behind that first storm system, and then we quickly get right back to some well above average temperatures by the time we get to the middle of next week across the eastern seaboard. But after the system pushes through, the system's going to try to bring some changes across the central U.S. See that we have a pretty big cool down that we are expecting by the middle and latter portion of next week across the central U.S. We're going to see a pretty substantial cool down. The temperatures at or below average for this time of year, so a pretty notable change from where things have been for the vast majority of the month so far. So here we are by Thursday. The system is lifting into southern Ontario, the front right through here, and this will bring some cooler temperatures across the central U.S. See that cooler dip in the rain? We usually use the 540 thickness as our kind of our rain snow line. You can see that going all the way down to Texas. And as this front continues to move to the southeast, we'll have to watch and see if we can get a wave of low pressure to move along that front. If we can throw some moisture into that cold air, I'd say especially the Ohio Valley, the GFS is trying its best to show a wave of low pressure coming along that front and a potential for just enough moisture in that cold air. We can see a little swath of snow here. I'm not going to totally rule it out, but the chances right now and confidence is very low on this happening. But just something to watch, And that would make things a little more interesting, maybe for snow lovers in that area. And heading into Friday of next week, boy, it looks pretty chilly here across much of the central and even into the eastern U.S., starting to see some cooler changes compared to where we've been for the majority of the month so far. And the GFS tries to bring a wave of low pressure here along the east coast by the beginning of next weekend.